on the Titanic.
Todd McClay.
Thank you. This legislation, the Finance Reporting Bill, is an extremely important piece of legislation that continues a great job this government has been doing over the last 4 years. You see, the bill cuts compliance costs faced by many small and medium-sized businesses in New Zealand, and in particular these changes will mean that medium-sized businesses gain great advantage to get on and do the things that this government wants them to do, that the country wants them to do, which is their business. Now, Mr. Speaker, I'm a firm believer that governments should do less, but what they do, they should do better. And the last government, over 9 years, could not work that out. The government wanted to do more under Labor, and they wanted businesses to do less. And I can say they were unmitigatedly successful in that over the 9 years, because what we found after 9 years of a Labor government was, in fact, that the business sector had shrunk. The business sector had shrunk. They come to this House and still talk about how wonderful it was, all the extra money, all the great things they were doing, taxing hard-working New Zealanders and then spending their money on their behalf. But what they won't come here and tell us, Mr. Speaker, is how the business sector in New Zealand shrunk over that period of time, and how devastating that was for everyday New Zealanders, and how much hard work this government, through our leader John Key and Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance Bill English, had to do in the early days of what is coming down and will be known in history as one of the most successful governments that this country has seen in such a long period of time. And here we are today, Mr. Speaker, when all around us in New Zealand, New Zealanders are celebrating the Day of the Hobbit. Now, to my two colleagues opposite, who I'm very happy to share a committee with, Finance and Expenditure, Clayton Cosgrove and David Clark, this is the Day of the Hobbits, not the two Ronnies. And I'd suggest they're the two Ronnies of the Labor Party when it comes to bills like this in this Parliament. So the Day of the Hobbit, Mr. Speaker, when all New Zealanders are rejoicing that one of the best films that will be released anywhere in the world this year has been filmed, has been made in New Zealand, we know that the opposition, the Labor Party, were not in favour of that. Others have called them Hobbit haters. They didn't want the film made here. And do you know what the damage would have been done to our country and economy should the Hobbit movies not have been made in this country? Small and medium-sized enterprises, so many thousands of them, who have been involved in the manufacturing, the making, the construction of this movie, would not have had work. And the opposition probably are unhappy that they've had these jobs because they didn't want the government to support this wonderful industry for that film to be made here. Why is that important, Mr. Speaker? SMEs, who employ fewer than 20 people, make up 97% of the enterprises in New Zealand. And shame on the members opposite for not wanting to support so many hard-working New Zealanders, many of them family-building businesses, mums and dads together who work hard, enterprises that make up 60% of all enterprise. SMEs, 40% of the economy's total output by value-added basis, 31% of employees in New Zealand and SMEs. The party opposite should be supporting small and medium-sized enterprises much more than they have. They come here and pay lip service to it. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the speech, Mr. Speaker, that this is a continuation of the work this government has done over 4 years. I want to touch on a couple of those things that are an intricate part of supporting SMEs more. And that this bill is a part of that. New tax rate for small businesses in New Zealand, 28%, helping local small firms get on and invest more. ACC rates have been reduced, levies come down, $500 million extra a year now going into the New Zealand economy, helping individual employees and small businesses in New Zealand. Levies on businesses have been reduced by 22%, a saving of $247 million a year for small and medium small and medium-sized enterprises in New Zealand. The 90-day trial period for small businesses, 13,000 new jobs created in small businesses as a result of this, giving hard-working New Zealanders a chance to get into the workforce. We've amended the RMA so that now consents wouldn't need to go through medium-sized developments, need to go through in 6 months, a commitment we made to the electorate in 2011, and we've reformed the personal grievance system. 96% of all employment mediations now are resolved without being escalated to an employment court, many of those in small and medium-sized enterprises. Mr. Speaker, unnecessary red tape on small businesses has been reduced, and the government's on track with these measures to cut compliance costs for businesses and consumers by an additional $200 million a year. Across-the-board savings, reductions in compliance, reductions in red tape. Mr. Speaker, this is a government over 4 years that has more than proven itself in how committed we are to making it easier for small and medium-sized businesses, and shame on the opposition for going against almost every measure we put in place to help everyday New Zealanders with their companies. Thank you very much.
David Clark.
Mr. Speaker, I'm glad that member, Mr. Benny Hill, my colleague referred to him as, has taken a